This is my last Dr. Pepper, and I'm very sad about that. Oh, I just realized I'm wearing my Gundam hoodie, and I didn't mean to wear this for the Gundam video. That's kind of cringe, honestly. But yeah, I got this through Premium Bandai, which is like very overpriced, but at the same time, I like the designs for their Gundam shit a lot. I own way too many articles of Gundam clothing. It's actually kind of embarrassing. I think I have like a hard limit on how much of my closet can be Gundam related. It kind of became a problem, and I'm just like, this is too fucking cringe. I need to stop. So I try to limit myself as best I can. But I mean, it's very comfy, and like it looks like, look, check out this fucking Sazabi. Like, this is cool. Like, I don't care what anyone says. That just looks nice. Anyways, I am here today not to talk about my last can of Dr. Pepper or my overpriced Gundam merch. I am here today to talk about my thoughts on Mobile Suit Gundam: The Witch from Mercury Season 1, which recently wrapped up, and I thought that while we're waiting for Season 2, which I think is due out in April, I might as well record a video with my thoughts on how the series is going so far. For those of you unfamiliar, Gundam is, I mean, I'm sure you fucking know what Gundam is, but, you know, Witch from Mercury is the latest Gundam TV anime that's been airing week to week. Recently wrapped up its first season, and it's a show I have been thoroughly enjoying. I honestly, I was excited for this show ever since it was announced. I was figuring I would have a good time with it. Uh, in recent years, I feel very spoiled when it comes to Gundam. Gundam is a very versatile and malleable thing. Part of the reasons I feel that Gundam has stuck with me and kind of, evolved into my favorite fictional property that I follow and am a fan of over time is just that it's so versatile. Um, and people can kind of come to Gundam and tell a core Gundam story and explore the themes that have been present in the series since 1979, but then make modern updates of it and then tell different types of stories with different types of characters and still feel like Gundam. It's a very malleable thing that I think that it gets a lot out of the fact that so many people have been able to come to it and explore it through different lenses and avenues. So every time like a new alternate universe or new continuity like this starts up, it's kind of fun because it's like rolling the dice. Like, is this going to be one that focuses on stuff that I find interesting? Are they going to squander the potential? Looking at you, Age, what the hell's going on here? Um, and I liked Iron Blooded Orphans quite a bit, so I was looking forward to this one. And like I said, I feel like as of late, Sunrise has really focused on a lot of the themes and a lot of the ideas that I personally enjoy the most out of Gundam. Even like the decision to adapt Hathaway and do it so faithfully and really focus in on the types of political struggle and themes of state violence and like, rebellion and what it means to fight against a corrupt government and how much of yourself are you giving up when you choose to violently attack a system that seems so insurmountable. That sort of stuff, those are all ideas that Gundam seems to have been really focused in on, especially so as of late. After a very long dry spell in the 2000s and early 2010s, where it felt like they were maybe going a different way with it that was not as interesting to me. Um, but I went into G Witch expecting to like it, but goddamn, I am loving this show so far. The characters are so strong. I love the setting and what we know of it so far. I am incredibly engrossed in all of the different subplots going on and all the mysteries that we have. And there's like a rising, there's like this rising fan theory culture that's going on with the show too that I've really gotten a kick out of, and I'm curious to see how much of this amounts to anything and how much of it is just us overthinking things. It's been a good time watching this week to week, and I am so excited for season two. Mechanical designs are phenomenal. I know that the designs are maybe a little too detailed, a little too greebly for some mecha design enthusiasts, but I've been enjoying it. One of the people working on this is one of the old Armored Core fourth generation designers, and you can definitely notice the influence in some of the designs, and it's been something I've been really enjoying. Um, I don't think that I've looked at any of the mobile suit designs in the show and been like, yeah, that's kind of a clunker. Um, I think I've enjoyed pretty much every one of them that I've seen so far. I think that they all fit well with the setting that they're going for. and have like a really nice visual flair and aesthetic to them that I think I like a lot. I just wish the model kits were not so hard to get a hold of because I've had a Gundam Aerial HG kit pre-ordered since like day fucking one. USA Gundam Store has still not delivered it to me, so I don't know what's going on there. I should probably contact support. I don't know. I know that there's like a weird logistics shortage thing going on with kits, especially G-Witch kits right now, so maybe I'll wait a little bit longer. But goddamn, do I want to build some model kits after after watching G-Witch? The designs are just so fucking good. I love them a lot. Um, but yeah, geez. I don't really think I have any outstanding complaints, at least not any that I feel like would really stick. I while watching the show, I felt maybe a little bit of reservation about how they've been balancing character subplots. Like after the very strong, first episode, focusing on Soletta and her meeting Miorine, um, the show kind of puts Miorine off to the side so that it can introduce all of the different classmates and kind of what their stories are. And I felt like that she felt a little bit shafted as a character. But then as soon as all of those introductions are out of the way, the show I think does a better job of balancing out what characters it's giving time to and whose subplots to focus on. Though I don't know, I did feel a little bit weird. I felt like especially as we got towards the end of this core, uh, Elon, I think it's Elon, started to kind of fall back a little bit in terms of focus, and I feel like for good reason. There's a lot of other stuff going on that they probably needed the time to focus on instead. But I do feel every now and again watching this show like, oh, sometimes this show I feel like could do a little bit of a better job just balancing out who gets screen time and what they decide to focus on. But not it's never to a point where like it makes me mad or frustrated or like I'm really missing. Like we check back in on all of the different plot threads frequently enough that like I never feel like I'm starving for an update on anything or anyone. But it was just something that I noticed going through is that sometimes I feel like the show has this show writes a lot of checks, and I believe that they have the skill to cash them all out. But just as they continue to juggle every now and again, I get a little nervous watching the show juggle everything that it's juggling. But so far, I really don't have any major complaints. I know that this is a show that a lot of hardcore old time Gundam fans who I'm gonna be real I don't give a fuck about most Gundam fans' opinions just because I just don't line up with a lot of Gundam fans in terms of taste, I guess, or at least what I come to these shows for. Have been a little bit pissy about this show focusing on like a school setting or not feeling Gundam enough, which I think is fucking. I don't know what to say. Like, immediately as soon as the show got going, I was impressed with how well I thought they managed to balance out being a Gundam show and carrying over those traditional Gundam themes. And even honestly, I feel like this show, I kind of talked about this in one of my previous G-Witch videos. I feel like this show has a very interesting like cultural conversation going on with iron-blooded orphans, in particular related to the like prosthesis and kind of the cybernetic angle of things. I'm kind of happy that thematically that thread has carried on from that show into this one, because it was something from iron-blooded orphans that I don't personally feel like they handled it as well as they maybe could have. But in G-Witch, they seem to be leaning more into the idea of that the Gundam started as this thing that was originally medical technology, and that being turned into this horrific weapon of mass destruction is a very interesting angle that I hope we give more time exploring as the show goes on. And obviously you have the different characters that use the Gund technology, like Prospera, to augment their bodies and kind of work as a prosthetic sort of body parts and stuff like that. Yeah, there's just so much going on in the show. I think that I agree. So there's this interview with the director, kind of talking about why this isn't a typical war story, and why they chose to focus on a school setting, and instead of having like a typical two nations or like three nations clashing in like a total all-out war, why they decided to kind of rein that in and do kind of more of a corporate espionage, close quarters tactical battles and ambushes type of thing. Um, Creating a very interesting dynamic between this basically like a military like weapons manufacturing school, um, a bunch of different corporations and arms manufacturers, and then also this reigning government entity. And also in the mix, you have this like terrorist cell from Earth that have some honestly fairly understandable, it seems, reservations regarding the people in space and like the arms industry and stuff like that that are violently attacking their institutions while being backed by some of the corporations themselves. Very, very interesting dynamics going on with all of these groups, and I'm so excited to see how they continue to unfold, especially the people down on Earth. I think they're called the Dawn of Fold, where the two Earth Witches are from. I am so curious to learn more about their deal and what the hell they got going on. Anytime you have sort of that like rebellious revolutionary cell going on in a Gundam thing that are kind of doing like the guerrilla tactics, hit and run shit. Just that's the shit that interests me right there. And yeah, I'm also just curious in general too what the hell what's going on with the witch thing. Something I really enjoy about this series right off the gate. And I feel like they've done a good job of having this be an element, but not being so overbearing. Right off the gate, you have the stuff with Elan and how there's multiple copies of him, and all of the weird shit going on with the cloning and like the plastic surgery to kind of make these different like Elan copies and stuff like that. And that immediately starts to sow ideas in your head about who is who in this show, how widespread and commonplace is this technology. And then you start to get some weird questions about timeline stuff between the prologue and the series itself. Some weird comments from Prospera regarding her daughters. And the common fan theory is going right now that the little girl Eri from the prologue is not Soletta from the show. In fact, that either Soletta is a clone or maybe just a sister. And that is honestly what I'm leaning towards myself. I feel like the show makes it pretty obvious that I don't think Soletta is the girl from the prologue. And I believe some eagle-eyed viewers even pointed out that you can see in one of the Ariel's cockpit shots that there's like an operating system like line or something like that, and it says Ver ES, which is obviously the those are the initials for Eric Samia, I want to say is the last name from the prologue. Whereas if you look at Gundam Elfrith's operating system in the prologue, I think it's like 2.0 or something. So that changed from 2.0 to ES, which, yeah, I have a feeling that the Ariel has Ares' like soul or like consciousness inside of her. And I believe that was the missing link that was used to break that permit score barrier thing, which maybe that's too obvious and that's kind of what they want us to think, but either way, it's been fun to have that element be a part of the show's discussion. I feel having us wonder what the logistics of all that are, how exactly the timeline between the prologue and this line up, and what the hell Lady Prospera's deal is. It's been a fun element to it for sure, and especially considering the incredible stinger that we got at the end of the last episode. I have so many questions regarding Soletta and whether or not she's been conditioned to do some horrible shit with that saying that her mother always uses, and even really what exactly Lady Prospera wants. I'm very curious to see where Sunrise decides to go with all of this. I don't know what else I want to talk about. I guess one thing, going back to the fact that this show has been such a mainstream success with people, and there's a few Gundam fans that feel like they've been left out to dry. I really like how the director put it, that the director had an interview quote that said something like, this is what is more relatable to young people. doing well in school, finding a job, worrying about your place and role within a company, if you're going to get fired or not, what exactly your company is doing. Like I think that this show manages to thread the needle between being about the typical questions and themes that Gundam focuses on regarding, the industry of war and imperial violence and the struggle of ideologies within those systems, while also being about, dealing with issues that a younger audience can find more relatable and kind of framing it in a way that maybe hits closer to home to young people than something like a war would. Which again, I feel like is something that that made sense as a setup back in 1979, when the ramifications of World War II were definitely much more present in everyone's mind. And the effects are, obviously the effects of World War II are still being felt today, but the effects obviously were very much still being felt in Japan back then. But young people a little bit more removed from that, and even the idea of war and war's place in the world and how war is waged has absolutely changed dramatically since 1979. I think we can all agree on that. And the rise in corporate powers, I think, is something that is worth focusing on in our science fiction, as issues of class warfare become more and more pronounced in our societies. So yeah, I don't really get why people are mad about them focusing on the school and corporate type stuff rather than the war. I think a lot of the people that are mad about that are the types of people that come to Gundam for different things than I do, and are maybe more there for the robots fighting than the actual politicking, which is a lot of the stuff that I like out of Gundam. But I felt like this is perfectly in line thematically with what Gundam has historically been interested in terms of war narrative or narratives about weapons and the people that are in charge of both making but also piloting those weapons. I have no complaints there. There has been a lot of really cringe, like, gatekeepy discussion, or I don't know. I tend to avoid mainstream Gundam circles and popular Gundam discourse just because I know it's going to make me mad, and listen, frankly, I'm sorry. I think a lot of Gundam fans are kind of fucking stupid. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. But like, there's been so many stupid things I've seen about like the last episode. Like, whoa, it got dark. Welcome to Gundam, baby. You were here for the lesbian romance, and I was gonna get all fucked up. And it's like, no, nobody like. We watched the prologue. We knew that this was gonna get fucking brutal from the get go. I don't like. It's a show about people making weapons of mass destruction. Like, Gundam has always been about this. I don't even think the newcomers are that surprised. I don't know. There's such a weird generational type of like stupid argument thing going on with this show that I think is just best left in the dust and having no time spent focusing on it. And honestly, I've probably talked about it too much already. I guess I will say though, if you are watching this video and this is your first time, this is your first rodeo with Gundam, just know that the people talking about how different G-Witch are, I feel like are doing a disservice to both G-Witch and also the rest of Gundam as a whole. A lot of the stuff narratively that's going on with this show, I think if you hooked onto G-Witch for the characters and what exactly is going on with like the bigger questions regarding what Gundam is and what Gundam means to these characters, I think that there is stuff to latch onto in earlier entries in the franchise for you as well, and I highly encourage you going back through and checking them out. Definitely very different framing than the rest of Gundam, I would say, but a lot of the same ideas and metaphors going on for issues of warfare and state violence and the industry of battle and that sort of thing. So yeah, I don't know. I don't have anything else to really say. I think I'm fucking loving the show so far. I think this is one of the better Gundam alternate universes that we've gotten in a while. I really liked Iron Blooded Orphans. I thought that was already one of my favorite alternate continuities. And I think that so far, pound for pound, G, which has pretty confidently surpassed it. I've been really fucking loving the show. Yeah, Jesus, we left the show on such a wild note. I am so curious to see what the fallout of the last episode looks like as we get into season 2 in April. So yeah, let me know what you were thinking of G-Witch so far in the comments, and I don't know. I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am, because goddamn, I feel spoiled. I'm having such a good time. I'm like a kid in the candy store every episode. Like each episode just gives me so much to think about and feast on and talk with my friends. And Gundam is good when it's good. That's what I'll say. So yeah, have a good one.